Hosted in a military coup in Honduras. The leaders of that coup trained at the School of the Americas.
That is a lie that the people are supporting the coup d'etat. That's not true. What people are supporting are people, almost some military reserves, some people who are from the ruling class, and some people who are in favor of repression against the people.
中米のホンジュラスでは今年6月末、軍事クーデターが起こり、マヌエル・セラヤ大統領が追放されてしまいました。このクーデターはどのような政治的背景から起きたものなのでしょうか。ゲストのロイ・ブルジョワ氏は、クーデターを率いたホンジュラス軍部のロメオ・バスケス将軍はアメリカの陸軍教練機関であるスクール・オブ・ザ・アメリカズで訓練を受けていたと語ります。今ではこのスクール・オブ・ザ・アメリカズは名前を変えてウィンセックと呼ばれていますが、これまでに6万人以上のラテンアメリカ諸国の軍人を訓練し、その卒業生の多くは祖国に戻り、クーデターや拷問などに関わっているというのです。
Rifles pesados, todos.
More than 8 rifles were pointed at me. Heavy rifles, rifles and bayonets aimed at my chest.
Y con rifles, pistolas y puñales, encañonándome unos el pecho y otros la cara, me decían, suelta.
And I was told, drop that mobile phone, or we will shoot. This is a military order. Drop the phone. Drop it or we will shoot. Drop the phone.
The General Assembly unanimously condemned the coup and adopted a resolution demanding Zelaya's immediate and unconditional restoration. Meanwhile, the OAS has given the interim Honduran government set up after the coup 3 days to restore Zelaya to office or face a vote to suspend it. Despite the growing threats of international isolation, the interim government has warned that the ousted president risks facing arrest upon his return. On Tuesday, Attorney General Luis Ruby told the news conference that the courts had issued a warrant for Zelaya's arrest.
When he enters the country, he is immediately arrested and put into the custody of the Attorney General and taken to the Republic's courts.
Meanwhile, the streets in Honduras remain tense, and the crackdown on the media has reportedly not been lifted. Even as hundreds gathered for an anti-Zelaya demonstration in favor of the coup, protests against it continued Tuesday with traffic blockades in various parts of the country and with the teachers' union announcing an indefinite strike in primary and secondary schools. Dr. Abindares, I'd like to ask you, here in the United States, many of the mainstream press reports are saying that the political leadership in Honduras is saying that the coup was actually legal, that it was President Zelaya who was attempting to usurp the Constitution, and that there was actually a legal arrest order against him. I'd like your response to that and how you see this in terms of who is on firm legal footing here.
Well, I would say that that is a lie, that the people are supporting the coup d'etat. That's not true. What people are supporting are people, almost some military reserves, some people who are from the ruling class, and some people who are in favor of repression against the people. So they really don't have a support. They have a support of the torturers, perpetrators, and some people who are leading this movement are people who were trained in the School of America. So we have to emphasize on that. I mean, this is a militaristic mind. These are people whose ideology is really backwards. It's so terrible. I mean, and they have been responsible of the human rights abuse in this country. So, of course, there is a kind of policy trying to confuse the international community. But here is very clear. What is the reason to have a coup d'etat? If you have the sympathy of the people, why they oppose to have just a legal survey to ask people whether they want or not to have a new constitution? So there is no reason. They are desperate. They don't want to give anything to the people. We are really in a terrible injustice in our society. So all these arguments are very weak when you confront reality.
And interesting that you talk about democracy, Dr. Almendarez, because Roberto Micheletti, who was sworn in, many say illegally, as the new president, actually ran for president in the primary, right, against Zelaya and lost. It was close, but he lost. I wanted to turn...
Violated for the Constitution many times. They have been violating the Constitution because they have the power. They have the armed forces, they have the police. So all this kind of thing has been really, the people are not supporting. And I would say our people has the really courage because we are really living a terrible history of repression in Honduras.
Dr. Almendarez, I wanted to turn for a minute to Father Roy Bourgeois. By the way, the latest news, the World Bank president, Robert Zoellick, said that the World Bank has put on hold aid to Honduras during the political crisis, which he cautioned might be a setback for the region. Father Roy Bourgeois, you're right outside Fort Benning, where what used to be known as School of the Americas is, the new name WINSEC. What is the connection between WINSEC, School of the Americas, and the coup in Honduras?
Well, first of all, we're not surprised, that there's a connection to the School of the Americas, now called WINSEC. This school is well known in Latin America as a school of coups, a school of dictators, a school of torture. There is a direct connection, which we expected. The two main players in this coup in Honduras that ousted President Zelaya are two generals, well-known graduates of the school. General Romero Vasquez, who's the commander-in-chief, the head of the military, not only a graduate, a two-time graduate. And, of course, also General Luis Suazo, a graduate of the school in 1996, who's the head of the Air Force. This school is well known in Latin America, again, as the School of Coups. Whenever there's a massacre, cases of torture, human rights abuses, we have been able to document a direct connection to this school. This school has trained over 60,000 soldiers from 15 countries in Latin America in combat skills, all paid for, I must say, by the U.S. taxpayers. And we, of course, are, like so many, are outraged by this coup. This is a scandal. We're encouraged by the response, of course, from the international community and the tens of thousands in the SOA Watch movement, who are really walking in solidarity with the people of Honduras at this time and the poor throughout Latin America.
Father Bourgeois, I'd like to ask you, this reminds me very much of what happened years ago in Haiti, where you had basically a military coup against the illegally elected President Aristide, and where a Democratic administration, President Clinton, condemned the coup leaders, as has President Obama, at least in this in the early days here, but where the U.S. military was playing a different role, in essence, had its own ties with the established coup leaders. I'm wondering if your response to how this has played out previously throughout Latin America, these kinds of coups.
Yes, when you're talking about Haiti, the main players in what happened in Haiti were trained not at the School of the Americas, but at Fort Benning at that time, who were very involved in ousting President Aristide. I don't know what to say other than, this school has a long history. For this reason, many of us are very familiar with what happened in El Salvador and many other countries. The high-profile cases, Archbishop Oscar Romero, the 6 Jesuits, the four U.S. church women who were raped and killed. All of these cases, along with the thousands of others, they have been graduates of the U.S. Army School of the Americas, now called WINSEC. I'm happy to say that just last week we had in Congress a vote. Last week, the House approved an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which would force the Pentagon to release the names of the graduates, including their rank, the courses taken, in the country of origin. For the last 5 years, they have refused to give us these names. all in the name of, national security. While they talk about transparency and democracy, this school is an obstacle to democracy and this sea change that's taking place in Latin America. Very important also, we have an upcoming bill, H.R. 2567, in Congress. This bill will suspend all operations at the school, and there will be a full investigation about this school and its hundreds of graduates who have been involved in these atrocities and coups. 11 dictators have gone through this school. Whenever there's been a coup like this one in Honduras over the past decades, there has been a direct connection to this school. And we are calling on our members of Congress, and we want President Obama to get involved here. He has the power to shut down this school of assassins, this school of coups, this school with so much blood on its hands. He has the power to close this school by executive order. That's why we are appealing for people in our country to write President Obama and tell him